Now tell me something. Why do we keep on ending up in cemeteries? I'll tell you why. Because that has to do with men's issues. Men die. And they sacrifice. And that's the bottom line. This is the Antietam Cemetery. You can see it stretches a ways. I'm not sure exactly how many graves are here, but there's quite a few. Francis M. Reynolds from Maryland. Sergeant. Oh, I'm sorry, that's World War II. So we've got more than just Antietam here. Let's see, probably these here. Let's see. In fact, you can't even read them. That's most likely the Antietam piece, eh?
I've learned since that nearly 5,000 Union dead are buried at Antietam, and also 200 plus post-Civil War dead are also buried there, and that's where the World War II grave came from. And on an interesting note, the cemetery closed in 1953, but was reopened in 2000 when a man named Patrick Howard Roy, United States Navy veteran, was killed on the USS Cole, and he's also buried at Antietam. If you look up to the upper left, you'll see that statue that's up there. They call it Old Simon, and it's apparently a Union soldier that is facing north and has his gun at his shoulder. And apparently he had quite a trip. They built it in Philadelphia. It was taken apart in Philadelphia and brought to Antietam. And on the way, it fell on the Potomac River, or parts of it fell on the Potomac River near Washington, D.C., before it was brought up the C&O Canal. So it's had quite a trip, and it was literally taken apart and put back together. So it's interesting. Old Simon has quite a history.
It's worth noting that the battle took place in 1862. And it was during that time that, right after the battle, that most of the Union soldiers buried the dead as quickly as they could next to outcroppings of rocks and in farmers' fields and all over. But 3 years later, the government came up with some money to try and bury all the dead, and so they literally dug the graves up and brought those men here to have a proper burial. That's an interesting and good use of government money, one would think. A sad tale is that the Confederate soldiers were left in their graves because of the what would you call it, the protests of the Union folks who were supplying the money. So it wasn't until years later that apparently there was money made for the Confederates to be moved to 3 separate cemeteries. One was in Frederick, which I think we've already been to. I think that's part of where they put the people from Antietam. So that's it for now. But the fact is, cemeteries represent men's issues. Think about it. How many men have died on the job? How many men have died at war? How many men die after a divorce? You know, what is it, almost 10 times as many men commit suicide after a divorce as the women do. I mean, men die earlier from almost every cause of death than women. Almost every issue about men you look at, men die. Suicide. Men suicide 4 times as many, right? I mean, the more you look, the more you see death. And really, the graveyard is about men's issues. That's the bottom line. And men die. Whether it's divorce or any other cause. Suicide, illnesses. Because men don't have health care, not in the same way women do. Etc., etc. So look around. Look around. Rest on embalmed and sainted dead, dear as the blood ye gave. No impious footstep here shall tread the herbage of your grave. How about that? they've got poetry sprinkled around, eh? How about that? On fame's eternal camping ground, their silent tents are spread, and glory guards with solemn round the bivouac of the dead. Yeah, that's kind of right. That's kind of right. The bivouac of the dead. The muffled drum's sad roll has beat the soldier's last tattoo. No more on life's parade shall meet that brave and fallen few. See, they call you brave if you die. I mean, that's what you get. You get to be called brave and courageous and held up as a hero. But guess what, folks? You die. That's the end of the line. I mean, what's up with that? So it's a terrible price that men have paid. What is this we have here? Let's see what we got. Not for themselves, but for their...
Not for themselves, but for their country. That was the inscription on Old Simon there. And my apologies for all the wind noise. It got much worse. And next time I'll know. And then my hat blows off.
There goes my hat. We can't have that. What the hat says is... Men are good! As are you! So like, comment, subscribe. Come see us on Patreon, and that's it for today. We'll see you.